The Republicans are trying to kill the post office, and now it looks like it actually might even go out of business by June if the Republican strategy holds fast. Of course, they don't want it around because they don't want vote by mail this fall. Check it out, leave your comments, ding the bell, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel. I was talking about earlier how the president is opposed to the 17 states that require a doctor's slip, basically, or maybe it's 14 out of 17 states. It's hard to get an absentee ballot. The president does not want, Trump does not want people in those states to be able to vote by mail. He said you'd never have a Republican elected again. And down in Georgia, you've got several Republicans now freaking out, including Matt Gaetz. But frankly, the only way that we're going to succeed in having a functional national election in November is with vote by mail. And what does vote by mail require? A post office. Well, the post office its revenue is collapsing because business is not doing business, so businesses aren't mailing things. And I mean, even junk mail is down, all kinds of mail is down, and they're projecting now that the post office will run out of money by June. That's 5 months before the election. So what do we do? Well, it turns out that the reason that the post office is running out of money is because back in 2005, the post office issued a press release saying that they had a surplus of funds and they were going to move their entire fleet, the largest fleet of gasoline-powered vehicles in the nation. They were going to move their entire fleet over a 10-year period from gasoline to renewables, a combination of hydrogen fuel cells and electric vehicles. And immediately, the fossil fuel industry jumped all over oil industry CEO George W. Bush and oil industry CEO Dick Cheney, and they pushed through legislation in 2005 that said that the post office needed to start saving $5 billion a year out of their operating funds and setting it aside in a trust fund that cannot be touched for 75 years to pay for the health care benefits. This is assuming 75 years from now, we still have private health insurance paid for by employers to pay for the health care benefits of retired postal employees who have not yet been born. It was a naked attempt to kneecap the post office, specifically to prevent it from rolling out a fleet that would have been a complete game changer, rolling out a fleet of renewable energy vehicles. This was done as a total kiss the ass of the oil industry, the fossil fuel industry. That's all they were doing. And as a result of that, the post office has been running at or near a deficit for a decade now. The post office is in a crisis. And now when they're running out of, they don't have mail to deliver, they need to be able, and they're sitting on $30 billion in this. Actually, I think it's probably closer to $70 billion, $5 billion a year for what has it been, 15 years now? 10 years. No, 15 years. Because the Republicans renewed this, recall. This was a crisis that was manufactured by Republicans on behalf of the fossil fuel industry, and all we need to do is say, hey, post office, you can tap that $70 billion or whatever it is trust fund that you've got for your 75 years from now retirees. But don't expect the Republicans to go along with that. Meanwhile, down in Florida, real interesting stuff. Rick Scott went from being the CEO of a corrupt medical products company that as when he was CEO that committed the largest fraud against Medicare in the history of America. He went from that, and he made millions off it. He became worth just a little less than $100 million as a result of being the CEO of this company. And so then he bought himself a seat as governor of Florida. And then he bought himself the seat of United States Senator from Florida. Because if you use your own money, according to the Buckley decision back in 1976, there are no limits on how much money you can spend. I mean, see Bloomberg, right? And so this is Rick Scott, the fraud guy, buys himself the governorship. So what does he do when he's governor? Well, he wants to have really good unemployment numbers. So he has the state's unemployment system, and in particular their website through which you apply for unemployment benefits, completely redone. So it's almost impossible to qualify for unemployment benefits. Now, back when the unemployment rate was 2.9%, there were a few thousand people screaming about this, but nobody was paying attention to them. But now that you've got, a third of the state trying to go onto the website and apply for unemployment benefits, it's become a problem. Politico, Gary Fineout and Mark Caputo wrote a piece about this called "It's a S-Word Sandwich. Republicans Rage as Florida Becomes a Nightmare for Trump." That's the headline. And they point out that thousands of unemployed workers are unable to navigate the Florida system to apply for help, and they're blaming Republican Governor Ron DeSantis and Republican Senator Rick Scott, former governor. Privately, Republicans admit that the system is doing exactly what Rick Scott designed it to do: lower the state's unemployment numbers, reported numbers of jobless claims after the Great Recession. One DeSantis advisor said it wasn't about saving money, it was about making it harder for people to get benefits or to keep benefits. Now, keep in mind, this is an advisor to the current governor of Florida, talking about the former governor, Rick Scott, who's now the senator from Florida. It wasn't about saving money. It was about making it harder for people to get benefits or keep benefits so that the unemployment numbers were low to give the governor something to brag about. The chairman of the Republican Party of Florida says someone should go to jail over that. All of a sudden, Republicans in Florida are worried about poor unemployed people. DeSantis says the state is going to have to resort to paper applications because the website is so intentionally broken, and they're going to try and build a mobile app. Yeah, that's right. That's going to work out real well. It's incredible. And at that, he also cut the benefits. The maximum unemployment benefits in Florida, regardless of how much money you've been making, are $275 a week.